second. Here we go. So before we even start, I want to say something that is going to help you relax right onto this session. Over probably the next hour, you're going to be hearing information that will completely transform your life. But the thing about it is, I don't want you just to gather more information. That's one thing that we as human beings are very good at doing, is gather more information. When you take this information and you apply it into your life, it could completely and totally have the potential to turn your life upside down, inside out, and help you achieve whatever it is that you desire. So first of all, I'll introduce myself. My name is Melanie Breslin, and I am the founder of Elite Mindset Academy. I started my journey in personal development. I've been studying it my whole life, but to really embody it and to really understand it, it was back in 2019. When everything was shutting down around us, I started to study myself, and I really started to study it like a scientist. So before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to take a little moment, okay? Just take a wee moment. I do it with all my clients, I do it in all my calls, just to ground yourself, to be present, to breathe. Really just switch off anything that's distracting you around you. Whether you've got about 3 or 4 different pages open on your laptop, whether you've got your phone, just switch everything off and bring this next hour for you. Just breathe into this moment. Open your heart, because this next hour could change your life. So I want to welcome you here today, and I want to say something also that really shifted me, that you are exactly where you need to be. You're not behind. A lot of us think that we're behind. A lot of us think that we're late to the game. You have not missed anything. You have simply been living a life. The life that you've been living it on default. So default is completely normal. Default for me was completely normal. I thought life was happening to me. I thought life was happening really thinking it's just going to be. It's just going to happen. Most people never learn how powerful they truly are in the inside. So I'm going to be bringing it from the inside to the outside, because I didn't know that identity ran everything. And we all have an identity, every single one of us. Most people don't realize that they have been living from old patterns, from old stories, old beliefs, old emotions, reactions to life, versions of themselves that are maybe so outdated that don't serve them anymore. And when you start to shift and to change, you have the understanding then that energy's moving and you don't feel that great. Why? Because you're shifting into a new version. And a lot of us don't realize that we can actually change it. So today is where we're going to change a lot of things. So grab a notebook, pencil and pen, take notes, anything that comes up throughout the session, just jot it down, and I'd be more than happy to answer it after the call, okay? So today is where you move out of default. If you're in a position or a place, whether it is a team, whether it's a relationship, whether it's health, doesn't matter what's going on in your life at the moment and you aren't fulfilled with it, you can take control, because today you move out of that default and you move into designing the life that you want. And this is where true transformation becomes. So I'm going to be talking about mindset. I'm going to be talking about paradigms, programmings. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that maybe some of you haven't heard before. And there was a lot of things that at the start of my journey, my best friend was Google Translate. I had no idea. I was on, what does this word mean? What does that word mean? So there's no pressure. There's no perfection. It's just all alignment. Everything is alignment. And you are here. You're exactly here where you need to be. Why? Because you've aligned with this call. So when we talk about identity, we'll go straight into identity. Identity is who you believe that you are. It's a concept that you have of yourself. And when we do a self-reflection, and when I go through self-reflection, it can be really raw. You can be very vulnerable in it. And to call yourself out on all the excuses, it takes a lot, okay? Because it's easier to stay comfortable. It is easier to keep doing the same things and expecting different results. It's easier for us to try and work harder instead of working smarter. So when I'm talking about working harder, it's like grinding behind the desk 24/7, pushing, forcing, hustling. It burnt me out. It led me to almost having a breakdown. It led me to being in the worst position in my life. And I knew about this material, and I'm going back before I started really studying it. So I thought I had to work harder to be successful. But that was all part of my identity. So what identity do you have? Because identity is the baseline of your life. And I will talk about this internal structure, because life comes from in here. Everything comes from inside. Absolutely everything. Identity is that quiet voice inside you. Identity is what you expect in life. And it's also what you allow. It's what you tolerate. And it is what is possible. That's only what's possible for me. Anything, if it's humanly possible for one person, let me guarantee you it is humanly possible for you. Some people can look at other people's lives and say, that would be great, but that's for them. If it's possible for them, it's possible for you. Someone that is very organised, calm, control, that's always in time. That's who I am now. Who I was a completely different version of that. I worried, I stressed, I had anxiety, I went through so many different stages thinking that, oh my God, this is just who I am. I'm always late for everything. That was all wrapped up in an old identity of who I believe myself to be. So your identity is shaped from childhood. Someone else gave it to you. Someone else gave it to you. So if someone else gave it to you, it's really interesting that you can actually change it now, but we don't even realise, because we're living our life in default, that we can actually change it. What you believe about yourself has been shaped by your environment, by what you saw growing up, by what you actually survived, maybe what you were praised for as a child. That all brings your identity together. Maybe what you were made feel guilty for. Your friends' beliefs, your school, your teachers, your society, by old emotional patterns that actually became familiar for you. I hear myself sometimes saying things and thinking, oh my goodness, that's my mother's voice literally coming to and through me. So if you ever wondered, why do you keep repeating the same cycles? Doing the same thing, attracting the same people into your life over and over and over again. They may be in a different physical body, but they still have the same behaviours and traits. Why? Why does my life feel like it's continually I'm hitting my head off a brick wall? That's the stories that I was telling myself. Why can't I step onto that next level? Why do I shrink at maybe the last step? Why am I lacking confidence? It was all wrapped up in identity. And it's not because you're flawed. I was not flawed. 1111 here. I'm just seeing it coming up in my... If any of you know me, I love my numbers. But now, my identity is designed by me. And it's not come from ego. It's not come from being better than. It's not come from any of that. It is just I sat down and I decided, who do I want to be? What behaviours do I want to have? What habits do I want to have? What beliefs do I want to have? And then I integrated them one at a time. And this is what my passion is now in my coaching business, is to coach my clients exactly the way that I have came through this journey myself. I am coaching from experience. I don't just tell you what to do. I have come through this step by step myself. Because your identity creates your reality, not strategy. And a lot of us can be in understandings of, tell me what to do. How did you do it? How did you change your life from being failing to being successful? How did you do it this way? It's not about the how. It's not about the strategy. It's not about the process. It is about your identity. And the beautiful thing is identity can be rewritten. You will never outperform the identity that you have of yourself now. That quiet story that you're telling yourself when you're maybe getting overwhelmed in the office. Maybe when someone around you is not feeling well, or you're trying to juggle so many things. It's that quiet voice that's telling you that you can't. That is telling you that this is all you can do. Your identity can evolve. Your identity can rise. And today your identity is going to begin to shift. After this call, you will be motivated. But the transformation comes in the awareness. And that's the first step out of default, is you're aware, becoming aware of it. Not judging yourself. That's one thing that we do not do here, is judge, criticize, blame, or put fault on anyone else or ourselves. But the moment that you become aware that you're living in default, that you're doing the same things expecting the different results, you maybe move jobs expecting things to be different. They're the same. Why? Because you're taking yourself with you. You may move country, but things still stay the same. Why? Because you're taking yourself with you. Everything starts with you. And it took me quite a long time to accept that. I had the books, I had the courses, I had been studying it all, doing it all. Nothing was changing because I was looking for strategies and processes. I was looking at, tell me what to do. I had read a book. I remember at the beginning, my very first coach gave me a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it was all, he said, the secret is in this. And I read that book from start to finish about 10 times. And I was looking for the word secret. I was looking for, right, what is in here that is going to change my life? It's your awareness. Your awareness is everything. And you cannot change your awareness. What you cannot see, if you cannot see it for yourself. Someone else may say it, someone else may see it, but you cannot change what you can't see at the moment. Because if we're always looking externally from ourselves, from our work colleagues, from our friends, from looking outside of ourselves, maybe when relationships, maybe in friendships, maybe with our health and our finances and the results that's showing up in our life now, if you're looking externally from that, you can't see what's going on in here. And at the start of my journey, how I started in personal development, I had always been on this journey. I had always knew about personal development. I always knew about manifestation. I always knew about different things going on in my life, but I didn't apply it. And it was only when I came through a journey of closing a business down and going bankrupt and being in the depths of depression and anxiety and worry and fear that I started to look within. I started to look within and think, right, what's going on in here? What is my thought processes like right up until today? Each one of you might have been living from habit. You might have been living from the same way, from survival, from autopilot. A lot of us live in autopilot. We get up, we do the same things, and we do the same day, maybe every day for the full year, living that same day. Taking 2 weeks holidays a year, expecting going away and switching off and coming back to the same thing. That's all autopilot. Some of us may be living from inherited beliefs that someone else has given us, from familiar emotions, and also from subconscious patterns. Now, I will be talking about your mind. We have got a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. But all your programs, all your patterns are all the data that you have gathered throughout your life is all stored in your subconscious mind. And we're living on default from that without even realizing it. And that's okay. We all begin there. Every single one of us begins there. Bob Proctor, one of my very first mentors, he always says, your paradigm is running your life unless you learn how to change it. It's yours, and it is so possible for you to change it. And that is exactly what is happening here today. Your paradigm is becoming visible. If I'm triggering anyone saying this, that's really, really great. That is brilliant, because I love that. That's the fact that you know it's not a blame or a fault towards yourself, but it is the fact that you know that you can actually change it. Your paradigm is coming to the surface. Your automatic program that you have been living from, it is rising into your awareness now. And you can finally see it. And once you can see it, you're no longer controlled by it. And this is the beginning of your liberation. This is the beginning of you shifting. This is the beginning of your life. Living your life by design, not by default. So I want to introduce something really, it's going to shift you so deeply, okay? That we have this internal data. Every single one of us. It is information that your mind uses to interpret the life that you're living now. So when you wake up in the morning, your mind is going to pull from your memory data that has happened in the past. So if you have an issue arising at work or in your relationship, or say in any, especially coming up now with Thanksgiving yesterday, we're coming into the holiday season, and we're going to be surrounded by a lot of friends and family and people and different parties and things like that's going on at work. So if you've had a bad experience in the past and you may have an event that's showing up and you don't want to go to it, what you're doing is you're bringing the data from your past memory up to the surface and saying, oh, this person or that's going to happen again. But your internal data is information that your mind uses on a daily basis. We go to the past and we pick out the past stories. Instead, now, what we're going to do, we're going to go into the desired life that you want to have and bring out the information from there. What is it that you want? Where is it that you want to be? Your internal data, it tells you what is safe. It tells you what is dangerous. It tells you what is possible for you. What's maybe out of reach. Whether money is, stable or unstable, this is all your internal data. Whether you belong in this group or you should maybe hide. Whether you are good enough or not, that's all coming from your internal data. And your internal data is not truth. Your internal data is the programming that you've had from your life. I'm 48 years old, turning 49 now in January, and my internal data was 40 years of programming before I started my journey. It was telling me that life was hard. It was telling me that I had to work hard. Yes, you've actions to take, but it can be in an effortless way. So you will unconsciously expect to struggle or to strive. So if your internal data says success is unsafe, what are you going to do? You're going to self-sabotage opportunities, even without realizing it, what you're doing. You're going to come up with different excuses. Say, you may be saying that you want to have more of a social life, you meet more people, then you get offered invitations. But if the underlying feeling is that you maybe don't feel worthy or, capable to go out and meet people, all those opportunities, all those excuses are going to come to the surface and you're going to sabotage them because of an underlying belief in who you are. But if your internal data says, I'm amazing, I'm fantastic, you're not going to dim your light. And it's not coming from ego, this is coming from your identity. So it's all to do with what the internal data says, because if your underlying belief is stay quiet, stay shy, you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, Even though you want more, it is that underlying belief that is ruling the show. And that underlying belief may have came from someone else. It may have been a comment that someone has said to you, or something that you have seen on the likes of social media. This is why your mind is so powerful. You protect it at all times. So your internal data today is going to start to rewrite itself. You get to choose your story. Like, what story do you want? You get to choose the new meaning of your life. You get to choose your identity. The identity that you want to have. Who you see sitting here now is not who I was in 2019. At all. I love that version of me in 2019. Sitting here today, it's not who I was last year. I'm continually updating my identity. Not to be any better than, but this journey is about me. It's not for validation from anyone else. It is me growing me. And this is where I have so much passion for each and every one of you to have the ability to do this for yourselves as well. Because everything in this universe is governed by universal laws. And if you are in the moment of telling yourself that you're living in chaos, okay, that you are living in fear, worry, what you're doing here, that is a vibration that you're putting out. And the law of vibration, we all have heard about, through The Secret, about the law of attraction and manifestation and bring it to you, That's all surface level. And it's great. It is good, but it's all surface level. Where we do at Elite Mindset Academy is we go into the depths. We go into the underlying. We look at the vibration that each and every one of you are emitting from your physical body. Because everything is energy. Everything is frequency. Every thought that you're having, it carries a frequency. Every emotion that you carry, every emotion, whether it is happy, sad, angry, resentful, joyful, doesn't matter, whatever emotion that you carry, it carries a frequency as well. And your identity carries a frequency. So if you think that you are that broadcasting station and you're emitting this frequency from you, you're literally pushing it out to the universe or source or whatever you want to call it. You're putting it out. And underlying, you don't feel worthy. Underlying, you feel lack. Underlying, you on the outside, like I was on the outside, had this amazing mask on with a smile on my face all the time, thinking everyone thought life was great. Inside, I was crumbling. I was lost. I was in such a dark place. But the moment that I started to understand, I was emitting that energetically from me. It didn't matter what I said from my mouth, but it mattered what was coming out energetically. The universe, God, source, everyone has different beliefs, but there's a higher source. It matches the frequency before it matches your words. So we may say that we are happy and joyful, expressive, we are abundant, we are prosperous, but underlying, if your frequency is saying lack, that's exactly what you're going to draw to you. It's like the law of cause and effect. Your inner world is the cause. And it triggers so many people when I say that. They say, so you're telling me that I did this to myself? You're telling me that I attracted this terrible thing to me? I say, yeah. Because I had to really accept that myself before I started to shift and before I started to move. And if I was able to create that, well, I'm able to create what I do want. Unconsciously, I created bankruptcy. Unconsciously, I created closing the business. Unconsciously, I created myself going through anxiety, depression, almost breaking down. Unconsciously. But the moment that I became conscious of this material and I could shift my inner state, my outer world then started to be the effect. And everything on the outside shifts with it. So you know yourself, if you wake up in the morning, and this is just a wee example, and you go to bed at night and you're in a really bad feeling, okay? You've had a horrible day and everything was going wrong for you and you just couldn't wait to get into your bed, and you think, right, I just can't wait to get to sleep. And you're replaying the horrible arguments and everything throughout the day. And you wake up in the morning and you're still in the same vibration. And you get out of your bed in the same vibration. And you're thinking, still replaying that argument the day before. And throughout the day, you've run out of milk. You've stepped on toys. The kids have lay on the floor. You get into work, the parking space is gone. You're running late. Why? Because you're in a low vibration and everything matches the vibration that you're emitting. But in the morning, if you can stop and say, right, everything outside of me is a reflection of what's going on in here. So how do I change? Pause. Is this thought serving me? Nope. Is this feeling serving me? Nope. How do I shift it? How I shift it is I blast the music. I meditate. I even jump on the kids' trampoline sometimes. I go for a swim, do cold water dipping. And that shifts the energy, move the physical body and get that old stagnant energy out of it. And this is what I do every single morning with every one of my clients. I get them the morning routine set up. Shifting your body, even in that lower emotion, because you don't want to continue that. What's going on inside you is going to be reflected outside. That's how powerful you are. So powerful. Because energy is always changing shape. Fear can shift into courage like that. Doubt can shift into clarity in a millisecond. Scarcity, it can shift into abundance immediately. So you're never stuck, ever, unless you stay there mentally. So in this moment, whatever you're going through, the best thing to do is keep going through it. I have been through every obstacle that you can imagine. I have come through so much in my journey, but I kept going. And I'm not saying about just the world is falling down around you and be positive and meditate in the corner. That is so toxic. No, it's about becoming your mindset so strong that no matter what is happening around you, you have the ability to understand that energy's moving, energy's changing. I can shift this fear into whatever faith. I know that I'm not stuck. I know that this is an opportunity for me to grow. And that's where your mindset shifts. I still have problems. I still have obstacles. I still have blockages to go through, but I have a different mindset now. I don't think that life is happening to me. I know life is happening as me. And the obstacles that's showing up in my life now, they would have probably floored me about 10 years ago. Whereas now I'm going, yeah, that's okay. I feel the fear. I know that by universal law, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, that everything is changing. So if I'm elevating to the next level, energy has to move. People have to move out of my life. Obstacles have to shift. Things have to give way when you keep moving forward. Because nothing is big or small unless you put a name to it. Nothing is big or small, except by comparison. So when you stop comparing your life and you stop comparing your bothers and your troubles to someone else, your mind becomes free again. And it's all about the law of assumption. And there's a fantastic author, and normally I have his book right beside me, but my desk has shifted. It is The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. And he talks about the law of assumption. And it's quite a deep book for anyone that's maybe not studying the mind or been, studying themselves, but it is a very good one to have in your library. And he talks about whatever you assume to be true becomes your experience. But I'm not talking about just surface level. I'm talking about, you may say, oh, I'm going to change jobs next year. But on an underlying level, if you are thinking that you're not, it's what you assume, the underlying level, that is going to become your experience. Not because it magically falls out of the sky, okay? It just doesn't magically come and knock at the door and say, here, I'm here. It's because your identity rises to match that. So your identity rises to match what you assume to be true for you. This is how creation works. And we get so bogged down in our human part of us because we live in 3 levels. We're a spiritual being having this physical experience with an intellect. So we work on the intellect, we work on our mindset first, where our mind is set. And if our mind is set on abundance, we're going to achieve abundance. If our mind is set on lack, scarcity, victim mentality, this is why I say, look at the concept that you have of yourself before anything else. Before you even think about setting a goal. And you'll see I haven't even talked about what is it that you want or what goal do you want. Because you have to understand who you are first. And when you understand who you are, then we go into the understanding that, right, what is it that I want? But there's like a thinking, feeling loop that's going on. So I want to really explain something that it may make sense to you, but it may not. That's okay, just be open here. Your thoughts create your feelings. So many of us don't even think that we have the ability to accept and reject our thoughts. So if your thoughts create your feelings, and then your feelings creates the behavior that you have. So if you're thinking really, I don't like saying even negative thoughts, but if you're thinking really weak thoughts, okay, that I do most times that I'm sharing a kitchen with my husband, I'm trying to get him shifted out of the way. But when you're thinking really low, weak thoughts, it's going to create a feeling in your physical body. And that feeling in your physical body is going to dictate the habits that you have. It's going to dictate the behavior that you do. If you're reacting to your thoughts and then you're feeling pretty bad, your results are going to reinforce them feelings. So say you get an email that you don't like what's in the email and you just straight away react to it. You have a bad feeling in your body and you reply and send it. And then about an hour later, when you kind of relax and calm down, you're going, oh, sugar, what did I do? I reacted to that. And then it causes a reaction, causes more reaction in the universe, and then it all blows up. Where I always say, right, is this thought serving me today? How am I feeling? Because you're aware of your feeling, the emotion in your body, because it's just energy in motion. So if you're feeling not great in the physical body and you don't want to take action from that feeling, you can shift it. So if your identity says, okay, I struggle all day long. Oh my goodness, I am struggling. I am really finding it difficult. Your thoughts is going to match that struggle. Your emotions are going to match that struggle, that internal thought that you're having. And then your actions that you take is going to be in struggle as well. And your results that show up in your life is going to confirm it for you. Because your thoughts, your feelings, your action is the attitude that you have to life. But if your identity says, I'm so capable, you have this new task to do, I am so capable of achieving this, everything in your system rises to meet that truth. You do not change your life by forcing action. We can sit and we can force, and I have done it in my life. I was in hospitality before my journey in coaching, and I thought if I worked harder, I started at 3:30 in the morning, a.m., and I was in the bakery, forcing and pushing and struggling. And I thought if I could work hard, and again, I was looking for validation because I was thinking, how great is it that I work all these long hours? I must be successful if I'm working these long hours. That's not success. Most definitely not. You don't have to force. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to push. So you can change your life by deciding what identity that you want to have, what beliefs that you want to have. And then that's going to create the action that you take in with you. But it's also about feeling safe in your growth. Because when someone asked me, what kind of life did I want? What goal did I want to show up? What did I want to bring into my life? I thought, right, if I wanted more finances, I had to work harder. And at that point, I was literally at breaking point. So I was afraid of growth because I thought I had to work harder. And this is a huge one. It's feeling safe with growth, with personal development growth, with business, with teams. It is about feeling safe with that growth. Your subconscious protects your identity, okay? The subconscious part of your mind. But your nervous system protects your safety. It's like your brain is a goal-achieving mechanism. It's going to protect your safety. So this means that you can want that next level of success. But if your body does not feel safe in having it, you're going to unconsciously push it away. As simple as that. And you think, why is it happening for everyone else and it's not happening for me? Unconsciously, you don't even aware that you're pushing it away. I see it all the time. People self-sabotage. People shrink. Maybe they back out at the last moment. They hesitate. They say they want abundance. They say they want to change. They say they want growth. But then they don't take the actions for it. Why? Because unconsciously they're self-sabotaging. But you cannot receive it because the body, the physical body, is not familiar with that level of safety yet. So you're pushing it away. And we can all say that I want this goal, but you don't go after it because of self-sabotaging. But today, your body, after this call, is beginning to understand that growth is safe. Success is safe. Visibility is safe. That was a huge one for me. Oh my goodness. I would never even have put a photograph on social media. I never would have even spoke on social media before I came on one of these calls. And I thought, right, visibility, I just wanted to hide. I wanted to crawl into the corner because I felt that was safe. But now I know expansion is safe. I know that visibility is safe. I know that receiving is more than safe. I'm open to abundance because abundance is your birthright for each and every one of you. It's what makes transformation last. Having the underlying default shifted. So Neville would have spoke quite openly as well in one of his books that he would have taught about the subconscious mind is the womb of creation. And whatever you put into that subconscious mind, it's going to come into your reality. It's going to express in your reality then. And this is where the mind is the cause. And nothing can appear in your life. Okay, nothing can appear in your life. Excuse me. That's not first planted in your subconscious mind. So if you're thinking that life is just happening, and you're thinking that you just get from week to week, from day to day, next year it may be better, I'll get a little increase in my wages, excuse me, I'll change jobs, I'll do this, I'll change relationships. But if you're planting your subconscious mind thinking everything is external from you, nothing's going to change until you change inside. So this means something so powerful. You don't wait for proof. You become the proof. You don't wait for your reality to change. You don't wait for the new relationship. You don't wait for the new job. You don't wait for any of that to change. Your reality waits for you to change. So the moment that you change, everything else around you changes. Your identity is the creation. So we can see it coming to the surface time and time and time again and expecting my life is going to change when the bank balance says I can do that. Absolutely not. Make the decision. Make the change now and you see yourself so worthy. And my very first investment in personal development, I had no idea where it came from. Absolutely no idea. At that moment that I decided to invest in myself, I had just went bankrupt. This was in 2019. I had lost, it was 15 years in business that I had pumped into a restaurant that didn't work. On the outside, it looked amazing, but subconsciously, I can join the dots looking back now. But I knew I had to do something because I was broken inside. I was absolutely broken, and I would have always been very much in the tune of working with crystals and energies, and I loved everything externally from me. But when I started to understand about the mind, that I didn't need all the books, I didn't need all the extras. Don't get me wrong, all my crystals, I love all that. But this journey about studying you and studying you internally, that you don't need anything externally from you. You do not need any of that. That's not going to shift your identity. It's nice, I like it from my meditation, I like it to have in my home, but the main thing is inside you. And this is where you understand this higher self that you have. So we have an ego. Your ego's not bad because we're programmed to think that the ego is, the bravado. But your ego's not bad. Your ego is simply a protector, okay? And that was a protector for me for so long. It was a protector of my old identity of who I was. It wants to keep you safe. It's always going to try and pull you back into the familiar. That's fine. Because when we're stepping out and we're going a different way, we get uncomfortable and we think, oh my God, what is happening here? But your ego's going to want to feel familiar. It's going to want to keep you comfortable. But your higher self, that's your old you. Your higher self, that's a step, and now every version of you is already here. All right? It's already on a frequency. So that higher self of you, that version of you that already lives the life that you're dreaming and you're desiring of, the freedom, the happiness, the joy, the health, whatever it is that you want. The life that I'm living may not be for everyone else, but it's my life and it's how I wanted to live my life. So what do you want to live for you? How do you want to live for you? So your ego speaks in fear of saying, stay small. What happens if it doesn't work? Oh my goodness, what happens if I fail? Your higher self speaks in certainty, saying, yes, girl, let's go. Let's go, let's achieve this. So what if you fall down? So what if you fail? I failed forward so many times. And I heard someone saying, I think it was on Instagram or something, it says, what happens? What would you do if you thought that you were 5 fails away from success? You'd want to fail, and you'd want to fail, and you'd want to fail. So this is where we understand that we're failing forward. So today we start to listen to your higher voice. That higher voice. So whenever you experience maybe the opposite of what it is that you want in your life, okay? It's not the sign of failure. And this is where so many of us gets caught up with, failing and worrying other people's opinions and, looking bad. But whenever something opposite to what we want, say that you are drawing in abundance into your life and then you see lack, you see maybe bills coming in, or you see things shifting. This is alignment, because the universal law of polarity, it would say that whatever it is that you desire, the opposite has to show up first. The opposite shows, and normally it's the opposite always, the contrast is always there, but in our human side, we think that that's punishment, but it's not. It's clarity, because it's understanding that, okay, I'm drawing this in, there's lack here, so am I focused on the lack, or am I still focused on the abundance that I can't see yet? Am I focusing on what I don't want, or am I focusing on what I do want? So whenever you recognize that, okay, I'm seeing this, and it's making a decision because there's always a moment where awareness becomes embodiment, where your learning here becomes choosing. So you can learn and gather the knowledge, and then you can say, right, am I going to use this in my life? Am I going to use this on a daily basis? Because decision is one of the most important things that you will ever develop. Saying yes or saying no is making a decision. Not ghosting, not hiding, but just making a decision for yourself. Decision is not pressure. Decision is not force, it's alignment. And decision is a moment that you say that I'm no longer living by default. If someone offers you something, instead of saying, maybe, I don't know, I'll see, yes or no. And that's one of the biggest shifts that I have ever made in my life, is making a decision. And I could never even have made a decision what I wanted for dinner, or get a takeaway at the weekend in case someone didn't like it. I couldn't have made a decision. And as much as I adore my family, we all got together at Christmas to the New Year. No one could make a decision what everyone wanted to do. Everybody was making, I don't know, we'll wait, we'll see, we'll do this. That was all part of my programming. So now I make a decision based on what I want. I fill my cup up. And some people may think it's selfish, but it's not. It's been selfless. Because if I fill my cup up to the brim and it's overflowing, everyone gets the best of me. Whereas if I'm trying to fulfill everyone else, I'm not fulfilling myself. So they're only getting a fraction of me. So now I want you to decide that you're no longer choosing from fear. You're no longer repeating old identity. You're choosing you. You're choosing alignment. You're choosing expansion. And you're choosing the future version of you. And who is that future version? So I want you to really listen now. Up until today, you have probably been living on default. Not because you failed, but because you never knew that there was another way. You may have understood it. You may have thought maybe, but today you became aware. You became aware of your internal data. You're getting it shifted. Your paradigm has loosened out a wee bit. Your identity began to rise slightly. And you met the future version of yourself. She's there. He's there. That future version is ready to rise. You can feel it come up through your physical body. You can go back into default, or you can step into design. You can go back into the familiar, the easy route, or you can step into alignment. It's entirely up to you. There's never any force, any push, any pressure. You can stay in the old identity, or you can embrace the new one. And it's not easy, and that's one thing that I say to everyone. It is the most simplest steps that you will ever take in your life, creating your new identity. But it's not easy when the old one is holding on. And when you're trying to sometimes people please, you're trying to people please, or you're trying to, it's not even so much people please, but you're trying to maybe get validation of other people or other things. When you're putting yourself first, what you're doing is you're fulfilling yourself. So if something inside you is saying, this is for me, this is my moment, I'm ready for more, write her out. I write the version of me out all the time. All the time. So I want you now, if you're ready to take that next step, if you're ready to see yourself, be open, be vulnerable, put it on paper. Put the things that don't serve you out of your physical body onto a piece of paper. Because this is your moment. This is your moment now that you're choosing your higher identity. You're ready to shift. And this is your beginning. Because whenever you say yes to yourself, not an excuse, not I'll wait until, the minute that you say yes to anything, whether it's in your health, in your relationships, in your finances, in your job, in your team, the minute that you say yes to yourself, life says yes back to you. Doors are going to open. Opportunities are going to appear. The provision that you need is going to flow. I guarantee you. And then alignment becomes your new normal. And then everything begins to rise to meet you. And when you have that concept of who you are and what it is or who it is that you want to be, you'll start thinking of, right, well, how do I want to live? What goals would I like to draw into my life? I can't wait to see your transformation. And as I always say, if you knew me 10 years ago, you most definitely don't know me now. I'm still the same person, but my identity is completely different. What I accept, my standards, my boundaries, how I show up, how I express myself, the confidence that I feel in myself, my life has transformed upside down, inside out. I went from thinking I could only live in one area to selling up and deciding I want to live in Manhattan for a while. Packed up, moved to Manhattan for a year and a half. Now I'm in the south of France. I want to have my lifestyle is to have the ability to travel between both freely at any time. And that's coming into fruition now. And it's not about the external things. The goal will always show up. It's nothing to do with the external things, because if you're looking for validation from a car or a house or a job or whatever, anything external from you, that's a false identity. Don't get me wrong, I love my nice things. I love my nice shoes, my bags, I love all that. But that's a false identity. It's inside here in who you become. I can feel so fulfilled in a $1 t-shirt and a pair of jeans, and I've all my jeans on now, and a pair of trainers, as well as being suited and booted, because my identity tells me who I am. It's nothing about your external, it's all about your internal, your identity and the belief structure that you have. Change that and you change your entire trajectory of your life. So I'm here if anyone has any questions, and I know we're coming up to the hour, wait, I just open it up. If anybody has any questions or even any shares, I'll stop this recording a second. There we go.